Super Rugby Aotearoa this Saturday sees the Blues hosting the Hurricanes. The Blues 2-2, coming off two recent losses. Started the campaign with a bit of a hiss and a roar, but then back down to earth in recent weeks. The Hurricanes started off really poorly, but they've actually managed to turn things around with their most recent win. But they are still in fourth. Crusaders are still the one that everyone needs to chase down. So both of these sides at this point in the season pretty much desperately need a win. We'll go through the squads quickly, the predictions and some of the stats, and you guys can let me know your thoughts on how this one might play out. So they did play in round one. That was in Wellington, and it was a pretty comfortable Blues win, 31 points to 16. But as I said, that's seeming like a long time ago now, as both the fortunes of the sides seem to have shifted a wee bit. The Blues have made a fair few changes as well, maybe trying to, I guess, invigorate the guys that are playing because they need to turn things around. What's gone on the last couple of weeks hasn't worked. So Tui Nukuafa and Tui Mufasi are the starting props. Leon McDonald seems to like pairing those two guys together. Whether they go to the bench or whether they start, they always do so together. Tolai still stays at hooker. Remember, Eklund is still suspended. Kauli Tuioti and Derry are the second row. Tupolotu is also injured, so he's not available. Robinson, interestingly, both starts at number 6, and he is captain. So he's been a bit of a bench player so far, but for him to be promoted and to be captain is a big call. But he had a good game when he came off the bench last week in a losing effort, so we'll see what he can do. Papali'i is still there at 7, and Sututu is still there at 8, so it means your man Akira Ioane, who started again, kind of like the Blues' fortunes. He started the season pretty well, looking like the guy who made the All Blacks, but he's been a wee bit more quiet in the last couple of rounds. So, yeah, he is on the bench. Knock gets the start at 9, and Dudu's on the bench. There's no Christie whatsoever. I didn't see him on the list as players unavailable due to injury. So, yep, it's just like seemingly a form thing. Otere Black's at 10. Faanea gets the call at 12. He's been on the bench a lot this season as well. Plummer has been preferred. Plummer's a guy that me and a lot of other Blues fans kind of question a wee bit at times because he's always seemed a bit small for 12 because I think he was originally a 10. But he seems to have bulked up a bit this season and he has been better. But again, maybe Leon McDonald needs to see something a wee bit different. So he's brought in Faanea. A lot of fans will be happy with that. Rico Ioane continues on at 13 and he's still developing, man. He's still not there. He missed 6 tackles last week. I mean, the Chiefs midfield just ran riot, especially Quintu Paia. He ran absolute riot. So that's the main area of Rico's game that needs to get better. He's certainly got no problems on attack, but it's the defence and the positioning and whatnot that needs to be better. Caleb Clark's still on the left wing, and he's also been like relatively well contained. People have seen what he can do, and they seem to be able to contain him. The Blues, I don't know whether they need to use him more or use him as a distraction. It's one of those things about having a big unit on the wing. Do you just feed the ball to them? Like we've seen teams like the Waratahs used to do that with Nayaravoro when he was out on the wing. But if teams get used to it, you need to adapt. Talea's on the other wing with Perifeta still there at fullback. Lalala, Hodgman, Goodhue, Plummer, AJ Lamb, Apisai, and so on. I think that's pretty much it. The bench. For the Canes, it's a wee bit more stable, but again, if you're coming off a winning effort, you don't want to change things too much. Armstrong, Coles, and Lomax at the front row, so Armstrong gets a start this week. Numi is down to the bench. Blackwell's back. He's in the second row. Scrafton moves from 4 to 5. Princep Karifi and Adi Savia as captain. That's the same back row. That's going to be a heck of a battle. There's one thing about all these New Zealand teams, is they all have really good back rows. Like, there's some teams you can go, they've definitely got the best 10. Looking at you, the Crusaders. These guys have definitely got the best fullback. Maybe not. Maybe the Crusaders again with Will Jordan. I don't know. But, yeah, a lot of the teams have all got very good back rows. So, very competitive. Luke Campbell, Auburn Legend, 9-10. I think I like the Blues combo a wee bit better there, but we will see. Laumape and Proctor is the midfield. So I mentioned when these two teams played in round 1, Laumape will be looking to run over Plummer, and it never happened. Like even last week against the Chiefs, Plummer missed 2 tackles. I know Rico made more, but he certainly missed more as well. So can Laumape exploit the Blues midfield? I don't know, because he's not really been a blockbusting ball-carrying player this year. Laumape's been more about the try assists and his defence. He's not getting like 8 defenders beating the game. He's getting 1 or 2, which is pretty standard. Even Harry Plummer can do that. So Yeah, it's been a bit of a wee shift. I'm not sure if Lamape is carrying a wee bit of an injury or if he's just looking to shift his game plan, but whatever it is, he's certainly playing a bit different. Billy Proctor's there at 13. Rayasi has been phenomenal on the left wing, real powerhouse, and that's a loud bird. Julian Savia is back on the right wing. Huston is down to the bench, and he, although I back him, he's kind of failed to impress a wee bit as well. Hasn't had that many opportunities on West Huston. Geordie Barrett, though, man, 30 points last week. He's there at fullback. He'll put his hand up for best fullback in New Zealand as well. Riccatelli, Tavita Mafaleo, Wukalea Were, Flanders, Talmatini, Peter Mega Jensen, and Huston, as I mentioned. So, yeah, when you look at the stats of the teams, there's a few things that make interesting reading. Like the Blues have got the lowest tackling percentage of any of the teams. Their defence is a wee bit, struggling. And when you're going to miss 6 tackles in the midfield, it's not going to look any better. The Canes is a bit better. I think they're the third of the 5 New Zealand teams, with the Highlanders being the only team which is, they're slightly better than the Blues. Yeah. The Blues, though, their attack's good. Like, they make more, a lot more meters per carry than the Hurricanes. They're pretty sharp on attack, but yeah, not so much on defence. And the Canes are pretty happy to kind of kick and defend. When you look at their numbers, they've got a lot of kicks in play. They're not, as I said, the best defensive team, but when you've got a big boot like Geordie Barrett, you can kind of afford to adapt your gameplay to kind of match that big old boot. So yeah, maybe it makes sense. The Blues do go into this one as favourites, 6 points according to the bookies, and 6 points according to the Rugby Forecast algorithm. So either way, the Blues are just under 1 try favourites, 1 converted try. We'll see how things go. I, as a Blues man, am hoping the Blues can turn it around. It's not been there the last couple of weeks. Good for the Canes to get a win last week, but I'm kind of hoping that's where it ends for now anyway. But we will see. Should be a good game. I think if you go into the game at Eden Park, I don't think the trains are running this weekend. I think because of Easter. So it's got bus replacements. So keep that in mind. Anyway, you guys take care of yourselves. Let me know your thoughts. And I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.